We have a mixture of things for you to explore on this program. We have hot springs and stone crabs in different parts of the country. One in Virginia, where you're going to visit some warm, hot springs that Thomas Jefferson bathed in. And there's a wonderful hotel called the Homestead. Chefs were in from various parts of the country, including Andre Saltner, originally from Alsace-Lorraine, and then Lutèce in New York, and Walter Stabe, our own culinary ambassador from Philadelphia, who runs the City Tavern and other restaurants. So you're going to watch those guys at work and get to see some of the elegant, delightful things that go on at the Homestead. And then we're moving from Virginia all the way south to Longboat Key in Florida, where we're going to partake in a stone crab, seafood, and wine festival. And again, there's a Philadelphia connection. Allison Barshak, late of the, I don't want to say late, she didn't die or anything, she left the big fish over there on Walnut Street, striped bass, and now she's going, I understand, to open a restaurant called Venus and the Cowboy. We'll see if we can figure out what Venus and the Cowboy stands for. But in the meantime, I think I ate my weight in stone crabs, which you can too if you go to that Stone Crab Festival at the Colony Hotel in Longboat Key in Florida. It won't happen again until next year, but start planning. And we're standing here in front of the fabled Homestead Hotel. Actually, it began in 1761 with just a little spa, a hot spring, and it's now, I guess the hotel itself was constructed, not this size, of course, in 1766. And see what it has become here in 1996. I'm standing here with Susan Haruska, who handles the public relations for this gorgeous place. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. It's good to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here on this beautiful spring day. Never seen a more beautiful day anywhere than in these gorgeous mountains of Western Virginia. And this, inside the main building of the Homestead, is the Great Hall, where they serve tea every afternoon. And that's what you're watching now. People assemble here every day from 4 to 5, have their tea and some scrumptious goodies, I am told. So let's go see. I'm going to go have some. Well, here's my tea. I elected to have cold tea since it's such gorgeous weather. What do you think, Susan? Isn't today?
Definitely weather for iced tea in the South.
Right. And so that's what we're doing, in a little fruit bread and a little tiny sandwich. We'll come back to you again. We're going to have a wild wine and food weekend that we're going to embark on, so I'm not going to have too much now. And going on a carriage ride in the Virginia foothills is one of the wonderful pastimes here at the Homestead. We're going with Stephen, our driver, and Cheyenne and Popcorn. Which one is which? Cheyenne is the really spotted one, and Popcorn is okay. So father and son, we're hoping for a nice, comfortable, pleasant ride through the surrounding countryside. We'll take you along. Just on the edge of the Homestead property. These are all privately owned. This one used to belong to Pat Robertson, the minister of TV fame, and has just been sold and purchased by somebody else. And the whole area here is serene and beautiful. And here are the stables of the homestead for people who bring their own horses. Some of them go on a 120-mile ride, but they come with their own horses for this beautiful ride through the trails of the hills of, I guess they're the Alleghenies. These lovely hills, rolling hills, part of the Allegheny chain, are all part of the homestead's 15,000 acres for that beautiful resort. And so you get a sense of what it's like to be here in the hills of Virginia. It's early in the season. The trees, some of them are just beginning to bud out, but it's beautiful, I guess, at any time of the year. And this is looking at the whole complex. Well, not the whole complex, but the whole building itself, the homestead, listed as one of the National Historic Hotels, the National Register of Historic Hotels. So you can see how impressive it is and why people have been coming here, and it's been growing for about over 200 years. Well, I could just pull up stakes, as I said, and to stay. One of the principal attractions for people to come to this part of Virginia, outside of Roanoke, about 70 miles out of Roanoke, to the homestead and other bed and breakfasts that are in this general vicinity, is the Warm Springs. It was probably the principal attraction in the first place when Thomas Jefferson used to come here. I don't think he's going to be in the ladies' bathhouse, though. He might be in the men's bathhouse with the cameraman here, but I'm going into the Warm Springs. I don't think the camera is coming with me, but I want you to be able to see what this charming little enclave is like. It's about 5 miles from the main hotel, out in the midst of beautiful, beautiful hilly country. And here's where the original spring comes bubbling out of the ground. It's where it came out 200 years ago when Tom Jefferson came here, and it's still bubbling away. A little bit fragrant. I'm sure it's going to be pleasant once I get inside and into the pool. Well, it really is warm. I can understand why it's called Warm Springs. Now, here's a man who is making the most southern of southern food. His name is Jimmy Sneed, and he comes from, you ready for this? The Frog and the Redneck is the name of his restaurant. And he's making catfish and biscuits made from special biscuit flour, very soft wheat, and this cabbage that he's going to cook with sorghum, which is sort of like molasses. Well, though I'm not a southerner, maybe I need a course in appreciation. But anyway, watch him as he works. He's an interesting man. He certainly isn't typical chef-like in the way he handles himself, but he sure knows what he's doing.
Sorry?
It looks like a frog.
Let's see what's ready over here.
That's the catfish now. Somebody said it looked like frog's legs as it was frying, but that's just the way he butchered. It always surprises me when people talk about butchering fish. But that's the way he did. Now he's going to make a gravy. What is southern food without gravy? That's what he's doing. Little flour, little fat. And here's the finished product. Doesn't look too shabby, and people are digging in with great happiness.
I didn't think it was.
Pretty happy right now.
I'd say enthusiasm. Next we have here Andre Saltner, one of the great chefs of our time, former owner of Lutèce in New York. He's just sold the restaurant and he's out on the teaching circuit now. He's such a fine teacher. I'm going to let you listen to him all by himself because he makes his point so clearly and he's very funny. Besides, he's going to make a couple of dishes, a tarte flambe, which is an appetizer, and a wonderful, wonderful choucroute that he is particularly well known for, only this one is made with fish.
Duckling fat.
Let's listen.
At home, you use duckling fat. Here we have duckling fat, which is better. Okay. We have a little wooden spoon, something like that. Yeah. It's better you put the onions than the finger, you know. I don't say your finger don't taste good, but you know. Vanation, we think we have the best white wines. And when you see choucroute Riesling, there should be Riesling in. Most of the time it's not Riesling, you know. But don't tell that. They don't want to know. You can take any dry white wine. It's good. We use usually here California, which is good wine to cook because it has body. Okay, also, I don't know if you have the recipe, but in the recipe we say we put chicken stock. Most of the time we just use water. At home, I always use only water. Water is fine. Now we have no water. I've got to use chicken stock maybe. We have no water. All right. Here we have the choucroute. I washed it before, so whenever you make choucroute, make sure that you wash it very good. Otherwise you have problems. Usually if I don't wash it very, very good, I have problems with my wife. Oh, you must not wash it enough, you know. So we really take boiling water, we put it in boiling water, and then we put the water out like that. And then twice in cold water. And then your choucroute is just good. Most of the time you eat choucroute, the sauerkraut is too sour, no good. So make sure that you wash it good. Okay, we're ready. We start. Put our sauerkraut in. And now, salt. Go always easy with salt. You can always, yeah, we don't need that. We can, we did, but we don't need that. You can always add a little salt. You never can take salt out to use for that. But if you don't have pike, you can use any white fish. You know, whiting is okay. Bass is very good. And even codfish. Codfish is a little too delicate, but if you be carefully, you can do it too. Quick feuilleting. I don't know if you have my cookbook. If you don't have it, you should have it.
We'll be passing along 2 recipes, so please make sure that you get a copy of each.
Do we have another platter there?
And live from the homestead. And you know Philadelphia's culinary ambassador, Walter Stabe. Of course, he's here running this food and wine extravaganza, or as certainly as the chief mahaf. I don't know what to say.
Right.
Chief mahaf. And look at this brunch that we're about to embark on as the finale of this extravaganza. Let's look at what some of the stuff we have. Well, we have, let's just talk about it. Brown bratwurst.
We have some sauerkraut and beef tongue and smoked pork.
And this is what I'm interested in.
The mini crab cakes that are an excellent job here to begin with.
They don't look so mini to me. They look pretty maxi.
An Italian sausage over there.
And you said, how do you feel about this kind of a brunch?
I'm excited. That's the
excited.
only way to go. First class.
I'm excited too, absolutely.
I am excited, first
and
class.
Everything here at the homestead is first class. And you know, Walter is not just our culinary ambassador, he's also the owner and chief mahaf at the at the City Tavern, where if you go, you're not going to be fed too shabbily either.
Right.
Not little tiny portions of Nouvelle, but hearty
food.
portions.
Dating back to Thomas Jefferson, who I saw this morning in his spa, by the way.
Yes, I know. You told me you had a talk with him. Walter, we've got to have a serious talk if you think you did. All right, we'll talk some more later.
Okay, thanks.
And just because we have to have a few other things, we'll have some smoked salmon and roast beef and ham and, well, you name it. I think it's all here, is it?
Everything.
Everything.
The kitchen sink.
Everything. Let's go look at a couple of the desserts just because they go in a different place, right? And we'll have just a few little fruit tarts. I mean, nothing serious like raspberry, humongous strawberry, blueberry. What else do you see there?
Some Napoleon, some kind of a...
Looks like a cheesecake or something. Ah, well, I think we better leave room, right? Okay. And this is a little seminar where Walter Stabe and the executive food and wine editor of Washingtonian Magazine and I hold forth about food, fusion food, the current business, and confusion food, trying to say that you can't throw too many flavors all on a plate and make it all turn out all right. You have to be selective. You have to be a little bit careful with the way you put your food together on a plate, and then you end up with it wonderful and beautiful. But when there's too many flavors, everybody agreed that that was not the way it's supposed to be. We just kind of agreed that we like food that matches, that goes together. You can be experimental, but don't get carried away. Anyway, people seem to enjoy it, and we'll perhaps go back next year and do some more. Well, on this beautiful morning in Longboat Key, Florida, I'm here at the Stone Crab Seafood and Wine Festival at the Colony Hotel, out almost at the tip of Longboat Key on the west coast of Florida. Now, I can't say that I didn't have a little bit of a taste last night of those delectable stone crabs. I did, but I'm here for 3 more days. I'm going to watch some chefs prepare foods of seafood and maybe some of the stone crab, and drink a little wine too. But in the meantime, I'm here on this crushed, crushed shells and fine, absolutely powder white sand beach. And it can't be more glorious. There are a few others out on the beach early in the morning, but not too many. You can bet a little later on it's going to be quite different. But let's go check things out at the Stone Crab Seafood and Wine Festival at the Colony. To kick off this 7th annual festival, Daniel Jackson, who is the executive chef at the Colony, is doing a demonstration of, well, not stone crab, but he's doing he's using stone crab with tuna and making an inside-out sushi roll. And he's talking and giving the recipe as he goes, of course with great deliberation, but speedily he goes to work. Showed a true professional. See what he's doing? It's great fun to watch. And I'm sure it'll be delicious to eat. We'll fill you in on it sooner or later. And our visiting moderator for this entire festival is John Mariani, who writes for Esquire, who writes for the Wine Spectator, and almost everybody else you can think of. Who else, John?
I'm writing as fast as I can. I do columns for the Prodigy Service. I do a wine column for Cooking Light magazine, and so it goes.
And so it goes. He really is. You'll see his name everywhere, and we're delighted to have him here. He comes to Philadelphia frequently. Next is Oliver Saucy. Is that an appropriately named chef? From Jake and Oliver's Grill in Pompano Beach. What are you going to cook for us now?
Conch and grouper.
Conch and grouper. Boy, if that isn't Florida, I never heard of anything that was. And corn and all kinds of goodies to go with it. Well, we'll wait and taste it after a bit.
Pesto. The word pesto came from, it's based on a mortar and pestle, because originally pesto was...
Sheila Lukens, who has just finished, the great Silver Palette cookbook lady, and others, many others, has just finished her stint here at the stone crab demonstration, has in front of her some shrimp that she's done some great things with. Tell us while I stand on one foot, Sheila Luken.
Well, I've marinated them in some cilantro pesto, and I've let them sit for about 30 minutes. Then I've grilled them with their little tails on and skewered them up and grilled them. And then I've tossed them in some nice fresh cilantro pesto just before I've served them.
And I'm sure that's going to show up at a lot of cocktail parties in Philadelphia now.
The idea was inspired by this wonderful restaurant in San Antonio called Rosario.
Thanks, Sheila. Well, this is, after all, the Stone Crab Festival. And I must tell you, you've got to see these critters before they get shelled, if I don't make a mess of that entirely. I mean, hard, tough. That's partly why they're called stone, I guess, because you have to have a special machine to crack them. How long you been doing this today?
Since this morning.
Since morning.
Yeah.
Same thing. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Wow. And he's cracking the knuckles as well as the claws. And these mothers, I mean, you've got thousands of dollars worth of stone crabs here today. Am I right? Tell me your name.
Omar.
Omar.
Yeah.
Where you come from?
Morocco.
From Morocco.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your country. Love it. I don't get stone crabs there, but I love the food. Let's go over and see a bunch of these guys working on this. And here is another guy who's spending the day, I guess, cracking crabs. Am I right? What's your name?
Jean.
Gene. Where are you from?
Haiti.
Haiti. I love your country, too. Oh, my God. Again, but I do get crab there. You're breaking up the knuckles as well as the... I want you to see the size of these claws. I ate more than my share of them last night, when I think that they are selling in the Northeast, mail order, something like $70 for 12 of them. My God, will you look at the thousands of dollars worth here. Now, what are you doing? You're breaking up the knuckles as well?
Yes.
What do you do with the knuckle meat? What does the chef do with the knuckle meat?
What are you doing?
Oh, we'll find out. I'll talk to the chef. Thank you. No, right here in your office.
It's not very nice in here, but okay.
Stone crabs is the subject at the Colony for this Stone Crab Festival, and this is the executive chef of the Colony, Daniel Jackson. Daniel, tell me, what do you do? I know what you do with the claws. You just stick them in your mouth and enjoy them.
Right.
What do you do with all that knuckle meat that's being cleaned out there?
Oh, we do a lot of different things with it. We serve it on the plate, the appetizer, in the center as a garnish. Also, we do things like the inside-out sushi roll, which I did for my demonstration.
Oh, that's what you use.
And we use that. We make crab cakes out of it. We use that quite a lot.
I said I ate hundreds of dollars worth last night, I think, when I see that there's $70 for a dozen claws when they're sent to Philadelphia
Right.
or any place up there. Wow, what a treat this is. Everybody ought to come flooding in, eating their weight in stone crabs, which you can do here. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Bye. And here is the music for one of these wonderful events at the Stone Crab Festival here at the Colony on Longboat Key. And boy, if this doesn't get you in the mood for wine and good crabs, stone crabs, I don't know what will. Pardon me, just a minute, please. And in case you're wondering what all these various people are doing crowded around here. They're here. You see that gorgeous mound of stone crabs. It's worth everybody's weight in stone crabs, I think. You know, there used to be a man who was weighed every year by his people, and they paid him in gold or something. Well, you could do it the same with stone crabs. About the same cost per pound, I think. See what I mean about all these folks there? You'd think they'd never eaten anything at all in their lives before, but that's because there's stone crabs on that line. And the pretty girl. And just in case you think all there is to eat here, stone crabs and shrimp and other wonderful seafood, well, wrong. Look at these desserts. Just look at them. And look at the pretty girl to serve them. My word, what a lovely event this is. There's raspberries and strawberries, and of course the requisite kiwi, but they're all set out perfectly beautifully as everything else is here. Are you on dessert yet?
I want dessert.
Shouldn't I be eating?
And this is Joni. Joni, what's your last name, Joni?
Atkins.
Atkins, from Long Beach Island, imagine, all the way to Florida, just because she's a true stone crab lover. Tell me, do you come every year?
Every year. This is my third.
Hey, how great.
Check it out.
Check it out. I mean, she's a little tiny one here, as you can barely see.
That's pretty good size one.
Okay, say hi to the folks in Philadelphia.
Hi, folks in Philadelphia and New Jersey. Love ya.
Thank you. Who earned her stripes in several of the area restaurants and then kind of sprang into the starlight at Striped Bass. Well, guess what? She's going to have her own stardom, her own celestial stardom with Venus and the Cowboy. We don't know where it is yet, but we know it's going to happen. Tell us about it, Alice.
It's going to be in Center City, Philadelphia. It's Mediterranean, pretty rustic cooking. Mediterranean all over, as far as Morocco and Tunisia, with American ingredients and techniques.
I haven't tasted any of that yet. Don't give it all away till I come back. Now you've heard from some people from New Jersey who like stone crabs. And what is it that brings you all the way from where?
Tampa, Florida.
Right next door.
Right next door, 45 minutes. Ray and Marianne Turman.
Ray and Marianne Turman from right next door, who segue over here for an entire day of stone crab pigging out, or the weekend.
The whole thing, with the whole thing, and it was fabulous outstanding last night. Outstanding today. Looking forward to tomorrow and the next.
What more can we do?
Have it more often.
And this is Michael Chiarello from Trevina, T-R-A, Trevina, means between the vines, restaurant in St. Helena, California. And he's doing something outrageously wonderful with stone crabs, using some of his own spiced oils. They make a whole line of consortia olive oils. If there hasn't been enough food this weekend, the colony, after its stone crab and seafood and wine festival, won't send you home without a little bit of brunch. Tiny bit of brunch. This is little smoked salmon and a little cured salmon, and of course these beautiful flowers. They do everything absolutely gloriously here. And I want you to see this vase made out of glass. Not out of glass, but out of ice. And just for a final sweet treat, there are one or two desserts here. So on that sweet note, we're going to say goodbye to this particular wonderful event, the Colony 7th Annual Stone Crab Seafood and Wine Festival. See you soon. Well, I hope you had fun, even secondhand, even though you couldn't taste the crabs. You could see how wonderful they were, and you could see how elegant and romantic that homestead is. And they, too, are planning another Cook's Extravaganza in April of 1997. So you can eat your way around the country with us, even if you can't make it personally. But I hope you will. This is your roving reporter, Barbara Ann Rosenberg, with travel and table tips. Come with us next time.
Holding me so tight, she's got this thing in